Reports are stating that Spurs are interested in 20-year-old Lyon winger Malick Fofana. He is available for between £40 and £45 million. The Boot Room have just stated that Thomas Frank has told the club he wants Spurs to sign Eze, and Crystal Palace will be open to Tottenham paying for the England international in instalments instead of paying the £68 million in one lump sum. And Tottenham's potential Champions League opponents and draw dates and game dates. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another episode of Tottenham News where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. Now let's start with a report from the Boot Room all about Tottenham Hotspur target Eze of Crystal Palace and England. They have stated that Thomas Frank really likes Eze, and the attacker is now firmly back on the agenda for Tottenham Hotspur in this summer transfer window. And Crystal Palace could be open to accepting Eze's release clause paid in instalments. The report from the Boot Room is stating that Tottenham have been long admirers of Eze, having first expressed an interest in him back in 2019 whilst playing for Queen's Park Rangers. Now the North London club know exactly what they must do to land his signature, made slightly easier by Crystal Palace's latest demands for his release clause. The report states that Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish is open to receiving Eze's £60 million release clause paid in instalments. Crystal Palace want around £25 million to £30 million paid up front, and then £30 million to £35 million paid in 2 instalments. There is also £8 million to be paid in performance-related bonuses in Eze's release clause, which clubs must factor in when considering a deal. The report also states that Crystal Palace allowed Michael Olise, who joined Bayern Munich under similar terms, with the German club paying the Frenchman's release clause in instalments. Palace are not desperate to sell the 26-year-old this summer. However, he will be entering the final 2 years of his contract at the end of June this month. Therefore, to ensure that they get a strong guaranteed fee for the attacker, they might need to compromise over how his release clause is paid. Now, reports in France are stating that Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, Everton, Fulham and Brighton are all keen on Lyon winger Malick Fofana. A fee of between £40 and £45 million is being demanded by the French club. The player wants to stay at Lyon for at least another season, but the club may be forced into selling the player to balance their books. Many congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur forward Dominic Solanke, who has just got married in the last couple of days. The Athletic have just reported that Bournemouth are valuing Antoine Semenyo at £70 million. Currently, Spurs and Manchester United are being put off by the asking price. The Boot Room have stated that Thomas Frank is willing to let Heung-Min Son leave the club this summer. And they have also stated that Spurs have made inquiries for RB Leipzig forward Xavi Simons. Now, a couple of short reports from the Sun newspaper. They have dismissed the suggestion that Vicario could be sold by Tottenham Hotspur this summer. They have also stated that Spurs are trying to tie down midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur down to a brand new contract, but Spanish club Atletico Madrid are interested in the Uruguay international. Now, of course, Tottenham Hotspur are back in the Champions League for the 2025-2026 campaign. Football.London have been looking at our potential opponents, league phase pots and draw dates. Tottenham are back at Europe's top table for next season and will once again take part in the Champions League following the Europa League triumph. The qualifying stages for next season's Champions League are due to commence the second week of July, ahead of the league phase starting on Tuesday, the 16th of September. Tottenham enter the league phase and will be drawn against 2 teams from each pot to determine their 8 opponents. The league phase draw is due to take place on Thursday, the 28th of August. So that is a couple of months away, with the dates and times for Tottenham's 8 games likely to be confirmed a day or two later after the draw. The season's Champions League final will be played at the Puskás Arena in Budapest on Saturday, the 30th of May. Now, 29 of the 36 teams have already qualified for the 25-26 edition of the Champions League, and the pots for August draw are starting to take shape as 6 potential Pot 1 opponents are already clear to see, as Tottenham cannot come up against Premier League teams Manchester City, Liverpool or Chelsea. So it means that Spurs will face one of the following clubs in Pot 1: Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund or Barcelona. Now, the teams in Pot 2 currently are Arsenal, Bayer Leverkusen, Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, Villarreal, Juventus and Frankfurt. Spurs will be in either Pot 2 or 3. PSV are also in that same bracket. Pot 3, Ajax, Napoli, Sporting, Olympiacos, Slavia Prague and Marseille. And in Pot 4 at the moment, Monaco, Galatasaray, Union SG, Athletic Club and Newcastle United. Now, Tottenham's first game in the Champions League campaign will take place on either the 16th, 17th or 18th of September. Match day 2 is on the 30th of September or the 1st of October. Match day 3, 21st or 22nd of October. Match day 4 on the 4th or 5th of November. Match day 5 on the 25th or 26th of November. Match day 6 on the 9th or 10th of December. Match day 7 on the 20th or 21st of January. And match day 8 on the 28th of January. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about the Eze deal, or possible Eze deal. As the report from the boot room stated there, Spurs have been interested in Eze since his QPR days back in 2019, and I have been a big fan and admirer of Eze since then as well, because a top talent playing for QPR, Spurs didn't want to pay the amount that QPR were demanding at that point, and now, of course, we're at the point where Spurs could be and should be paying the £68 million for the England international. I'm a huge fan, so naturally I'm going to say Spurs go and get him, but probably we should have signed him 6 years ago. We have been linked with this player for so many transfer windows, and this is a player who I think will really excite the fans. I think that he could really be a key part of Thomas Frank's first season at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and I really do hope that this deal does actually get done. £68 million, one lump sum, and now it is being reported by the boot room that Crystal Palace could be open to accepting instalments, because of course he, after this month ends, he is going to be entering the last 2 years of his current contract. So get this deal done, in my opinion. I feel like he would bring so much to Tottenham. I feel like he would certainly improve the starting 11 as well. And these are players that we desperately need in. Of course, we are playing Champions League football next season, and we need real quality in this squad, real depth in this squad. And without question or doubt, Eze will bring that to Tottenham. So I feel like Spurs have really got to go big in this transfer window. Daniel Levy and the board have come out and said, we want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League. You need players like Eze to come through the door and really improve this team and give Thomas Frank the tools that he needs to take this club forward and put more trophies in the cabinet, because, of course, that trophy success in the Europa League was absolutely outstanding, and that is exactly what we want again and again and again, to be lifting silverware, to build this squad. And let's face it as well, all of the teams around us and all of the teams that finished above us, I know there were 16 other teams that finished above us in the Premier League, but I'm talking about the top teams, Liverpool, Manchester City, and so on. They're all going out, identifying their top targets and getting these deals done. So it's very, very important that Spurs go and get first choices and don't settle for second, third, fourth, fifth best. This is at the time where, all of these teams are bang on it and they are going out, getting their top targets and making their team, their starting 11 and their squad stronger and bigger and that is exactly what Tottenham Hotspur need to do. Of course, Thomas Frank has now been appointed as head coach, so it's very, very important now that we improve this squad as quickly as we can. I know, historically Spurs do get a lot of deals done later on in the window. Under Ange Postecoglou, when he came in, things did change a little bit. We got transfers done a lot earlier. But I feel like those conversations need to happen very, very quickly. Those meetings need to happen very quickly about what Thomas Frank wants, about what the club want. And we need to get the signings through the door, but make sure that they are your number one targets, your top targets, because there's no point identifying all your top targets and then other teams, nip in and sign them instead. It's very important that we don't keep signing second, third, fourth choices. Go out there and get the best ones, because we are in the Champions League. Is the most elite club competition, and you need real quality in that squad. I just done a video, actually, an edition on YouTube, a player profile on Malick Fofana, a very, very exciting 20-year-old player, lit up the French league last season, can play with both feet, an exciting young player. But is this what Tottenham need at the moment? More exciting young players, or is it experience? It is definitely experience, in my opinion. So I've no question about the Fofana's talent and ability. But from the reports that I've read and a lot of the videos that I've watched, he lacks that defensive part of the game as well. So he needs to develop a lot. So is he a player that can come into Tottenham's Champions League squad straight away and hit the ground running? Probably not. It's probably another player that needs developing. When you're talking 40 to 45 million pounds, I'd much rather the money went on a player like Eze, actually. So that's going to be an interesting one. And it will be an interesting window as well to see what Spurs actually go and do, whether we do bring in the experienced players that Ange Postecoglou was asking for, and telling the club that what we needed. And I feel like a lot of us fans are saying to the club as well, look, we need experienced players now to have that really good mix and balance in the team, to help Thomas Frank as well in his first season. All of the potential Champions League opponents, I tell you what, when I look and just read out those teams there, a team that we could be playing from pot one is very, very exciting. I love the Champions League. We're back in the big time, having won the Europa League. Cannot wait for some of these away games, and cannot wait to have the likes of Barcelona, Bayern Munich and so on at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It would be incredible. But of course we play 4 games at home, 4 away. But yeah, Champions League, cannot wait to hear that music yet again. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.